Good morning, everyone. We appreciate you joining us. I'm Dave White. I'm the Vice President of Textiles in charge of Loom, and I'm joined this morning by Suzanne Tick. Good morning, Suzanne.
Good morning, Dave.
So we're here this morning for the third installation of Suzanne's discussions regarding Vedic meditation. And this morning's topic is following charm, how the mind works. So Suzanne, what are you going to talk about this morning? What are you going to tell us?
All right. It's nice to have everyone on. We're kind of building a nice group. We're a little 120 plus and growing, which is nice. So today I wanted to talk about a constant theme in Vedic meditation, which is following charm. And I remember, 3.5, 4 years ago when I started this process that I'm like, what does that mean? Like following charm, it sounded so like whatever, like I didn't quite get it. And so in the Vedic worldview, that one of the things that Tom Knowles, who is my teacher, talks about is once you establish yourself in being, and the way you get to establish yourself in being is to do a twice a day meditation practice. And once you establish yourself in being, you can then take action, and the action that you take will be pretty much in the groove of where your mind takes you, and your mind is constantly taking you into the greatest charm area. Our minds are constantly, it's like a ripple on top of a wave. It's like going from wave to wave, thought to thought. And so many thoughts a day, 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. I've told you that in some of the other talks, but it's important to know that our mind keeps trying to find that charm. And it's when we get into these areas that we're in right now that it's where there's a lot of fear that people are experiencing. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of anxiety. There's so many unknowns. There's an abundance of change that's happening, and we all know that change is inevitable. And every day it's a different story, that it's very hard to follow charm. It's very hard to establish yourself in being and how you're feeling, to be able to take action and take the correct course of action. And that really comes from doing this Vedic meditation practice. This is my third talk, and I just want you to know, if there's anyone out there, I'm not looking for a huge number of people. It's not about quantity, it's really about quality of working with people and getting into that depth of your inner being so you can take the proper action and go in the right direction. And if you are finding yourself in those places where you want to do something, but you don't know if it's the right thing to do or if it's the right decision to make, go, and you're not established in being, which means you don't have an established meditation practice, then go to the opposite and see if there's a version, if you have a version to this thing that's kind of popping up for you, and follow a version if you don't have a practice. And because the mind, otherwise, the mind, if you're not established in being, could say, yeah, I will take a third piece of cake today because I feel like having a third piece of cake, or your mind, it might say, yeah, I'll do that fourth margarita. I mean, that is, so you don't want to follow charm if you're not in a place of security and well-being for yourself. So if you want to start just tapping just innocently into meditation, go on my website or Ticking website, and I'm doing a every other Sunday meditation practice that you can just feel what it feels like to sit with a group, and that way you don't have to kind of go full on. I want to tell you a funny story now, and Mel, go to the next slide. And this actually happened. And when you are established in being, things innocently happen for you. And this is an example of something that happened. There's a little bit of a glitch, but Loom, I don't know if you all know, Loom recently launched a product called Decoy, which is a vinyl product. And you all know how sustainable we have kept this brand. And we needed to have a vinyl. We've been going over this for 5 or 6 years. There had already been a vinyl grandfathered into the line, and because of everything that's going on with COVID, we decided, all right, let's let's do this vinyl. And in one of our marketing meetings, we thought, let's let's send out, when we launch this package, to anyone that wants the samples, we'll send out a little rubber duck. And everyone thought that was a great idea. We were all like, oh, that's so great. Everyone's at home with their kids. They could take a bath and they could all have ducks and stuff like that. And this was like months going over this. And we did research on environmental little decoy ducks and stuff like that. And then one day we kind of just sat there, and I was really like thinking, would I be really charmed to get a duck right now? and so I kind of said to the marketing team, I'm not sure we should be sending out plastic ducks, regardless of whether it's sustainable plastic in water, and all of this that just did not seem right. So I really dug into that kind of deep level of feeling. It's called the fine level of feeling, and that's what you get after you have a meditation practice. And I said, I pulled the plug on the ducks. I said, I don't think we should send ducks out. And so I went down to the bay. I'm on Fire Island in the summer studio right now. And I walked down to the bay thinking, wow, I really just pulled the plug on the ducks. And so many people had done research on this ducks. And was this the right idea? And I came to the end of the dock, and these 3 ducks show up. And I was like, that is the sign. That I followed charm. I followed what my fine level of feeling was saying. And I made the decision to not send the ducks. And instead, nature sent me these 3 little ducks. And I just burst out laughing. I was like, oh my God. So I took a little video of it and sent it to the marketing department. And I said, let's use this in our launch instead of sending real ducks. So a very, very simple thing that happened, but this is what happens when you are rooted in being, that nature starts playing and displaying things in front of you and giving you the answers that you need, which is like, what is the right answer? And the right answer was to not send out a bunch of purchase all these plastic ducks and send it out with it. Just seemed so out of nature. So the intent of we at Loom, we always develop everything with intent. We always look at it, we reach into ourselves and say, what does the time need? What do we focus on? What's the relativity of each product, given the environment that we're living in? And so I feel like this is really kind of something that we were blessed with in the launch of this product called Decoy. I mean, it's so funny to me that this happened. And but it is a reoccurring theme that you will find. The more established you are, the more meditation you do in the morning, and then in the afternoon, that capsulation, any stress that you absorb during the day gets released in the end of the day. So your ability to see how charm works and plays in front of you makes you make the better decisions every time. So the next slide is really about, this isn't me.
I was going to say, Suzanne, that's very athletic.
I wish I could, I was a cheerleader once for 1 year, but
you're really elevating on this one.
I was not able to do this. Anyway, this is one of my friends in Australia that obviously does a lot of yoga. But anyway, so this is really about taking that leap to that powerful strength that we all have. And to do the things that you want to do. And if you don't have a practice, and again, I'm like, so, I mean, I'm gung-ho about this. My son, who's 28, has said to me, he goes, you know, I don't want to hear you, like, you're like just totally brainwashed, Mom. And I'm not even sure that it works. And, you know, like what makes you think that you know all of you, or do you just feel like you're a know-it-all or whatever? And, you know, and I realized, like, maybe I have been over talking a little bit about it. And I looked at him, and he goes, so, you know, why are you so into this? Like, you know, we were like having one of those discussions, and any friends that are on the call that know my son, you know what those discussions look like. I just said, Gabe, you know, what I do know is I don't feel the anxiety that you feel, and I don't feel the pressure that you feel. And I wake up happy. And that is what a meditation practice does for you, because I have released so much stress in my life. And so if you don't have a practice, then use your intellect to get to the greater charm. And that intellect, as long as that intellect is not taking you down the path of destruction, because we all know, in the last talk I talked about was creation, maintenance, and destruction. We all have that. It's everywhere, and it will. If you are in the maintenance program in your life, which is really considered the ever repeating known, which means you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you think that you're going to get a different reaction, that doesn't work, and destruction will come into play. And after destruction takes over, then creation happens. So it'll be very interesting. I'm always saying, I'm thinking like it's going to be very interesting to see what this destructive element of COVID is going to bring, because I feel like it's going to bring a much more healthy and creative outcome for all of us. And so that's the thing. So just watch yourself and watch how your mind works with this concept of the element of charm, because charm is always there to guide you and to build your next direction. And if you're in a real quandary and you're not meditating, go to that feeling of aversion. And that aversion, if you have a strong feeling of aversion to something, don't do it. Just don't do it. Like that's going to be the most important thing for you to do. Now we are almost 14. I'm going to talk about one more thing, and this is more of a personal thing for me, and well, actually two more things. And that's so I don't know if you guys have seen rolling around on. Oh, this is the other thing that somebody said to me. They're like, a person spends more than 20 minutes a day going through Instagram, and I'm guilty. I actually do. Like, I troll it, and 20 minutes goes really, really fast. It goes really fast on Instagram, and it goes really fast in meditation. So recently there was a whole thing, a friend sent to me his 10 top album covers. You know, who remembers album covers? And so I sat down one night and I thought, what would be my 10 top album covers? Is it about graphics? Is it about feeling? And so I went to the fine level of feeling. I was like, and and my mother, who was not a very happy person, music made her very nervous. So we couldn't really listen to music in the house. And but my dad was a big music fan, so he would take me to all the concerts in town. But for this, so Tapestry was my favorite album of all times. This was like when I was 8 or 9. This album comes out, Carole King's Tapestry, and I'd sit in my bedroom. I'd have my ear up against my little record player, and I would just listen to this album over and over and over again. And what happens? I followed charm. I became a weaver. I find this totally crazy that this is my favorite album. Anyway, let's move to the next. So that's a little personal feeling that I realized that as a child, and in Vedic meditation, just so that you know, we think of life as a continuum, you know, like the ocean, and the ocean is one big continuum. It's what 76% of what covers the earth. And our life is 100% of what covers who we are. And so you can go back in your life from birth to the future, and you can like go back and kind of nurture and relive those feelings. And I was like, wow, I was following charm from the time I listened to that album to the time I've become to today, to that person that loves weaving tapestries and loves what I'm doing. And then this last image is about the fact that nature will blossom wherever it can, and so can we. We can find a place to develop wherever we are, whenever, even when we're in those moods. We can find places to blossom, and it's really, really important to kind of not get down on yourself in this day and age, and you know, stay focused on your inner being and your inner self and what makes you happy, and know that your mind is there to take you on this journey. Tom Knowles, who is my teacher, just sent this out yesterday, and I wanted to read it to you guys, and then I'm done. And it's 2 legitimate outcomes of successful meditation. So Tom says there are 2 legitimate outcomes. The first legitimate outcome is that when you start your mantra, you settle down very quietly. That's an obvious legitimate outcome of meditating successfully, that you just settle down, and how great it feels. I can't tell you, it is the most remarkable feeling. And because it just eases everything. And the second legitimate outcome of correct effortless meditation is that you settle down a little bit and then you start unstressing. And unstressing means that you're unwinding stuff, and it's in your body, overloads of experience, and so on over the years that you've had all of these stress situations. And as that stuff unwinds in the body, it provokes the brain a little bit, and you get thought forms that appear. And all kinds of thoughts will appear in your meditation. I talked about that in our first talk, that you can't stop the thoughts. Thoughts are good. And that they may be everyday thoughts like, this isn't done, that's not done, I have a crazy friend, I really need to check my Instagram, I have to go buy potatoes, all of that, I have to get more diapers, all of those things, etc. And as you know, when that happens in the context of meditation, you'll still find it charming as long as you don't reject it. You're sitting there quietly witnessing the thoughts, and you realize that this is an unstressing episode. I'm releasing stress. Release of stress is a legitimate outcome of correct, effortless meditation. So you're doing it right. That's why you're getting the barrage of thoughts. And how do you know that you're doing it right? Because even if you had a rather thought-filled meditation, you'll feel refreshed when you come out of it. You'll feel like, wow, gosh, even though that meditation wasn't deep, I feel more refreshed. And that's because you've cleaned off layers of stress. So there's more and more. I know I've gone over time, but I am so happy that you all called in and could be here for me to share this wisdom. If you guys have any questions, you can type it up in the chat box. Again, I am available to help guide you. I would love to initiate you into this technique. It's an incredible technique. It does require 4 days of getting together, but I'm already scheduling a trip out to the West Coast when that kind of lightens up, and I'm really, really happy that you all came. So I don't know, Daniela, do people write in the chat box, or do they?
I can, yeah.
What the
go ahead,
experience
Daniela.
is.
Oh, no, there's no questions at this time, but we can give everyone a moment or two in case there is one.
Okay.
I was a big fan of Carole King too, Suzanne.
I'm sorry?
I liked Carole King too. Carole King rocked. That was a great album.
I know.
Yeah.
It was so great.
Yeah.
All right, so our next talk is on August. The final talk in this sequence is, what is it? It's Tuesday, August 18th. And the topic is life and design integration. So how you can integrate everything. It's at 11 o'clock. And connect up with me if you want to establish yourself in being and take action and find that bliss, that place of bliss. Thank you so much for coming on.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.